So the next person that I am going to talk about, her name is Ruth Elliott. Ever heard of her? Ruth Elliott is someone very special to a lot of people. Do you notice something about our people? So one of the things I love is that our people are good people. And Ruth is someone who is so caring. I see her talk to anyone. She wants to help each individual. She listens. She's an excellent trainer. She loves all of you. And we are very, very privileged to have her here. Her organization is amazing. Everybody stop flowing out and stop for 1 second, because we're all going to stand and welcome to the stage Royal Ambassador Ruth Elliott.
Hello. Are y'all excited? I am so excited, and it's a privilege to be here and speak with you this afternoon. What I wanted to share with you a little bit is how crazy this afternoon has really been in me trying to schedule what's going to happen. And I have a couple people that are going to help deliver part of my message, because what's crazy is long before Vemma, my husband self-published a book. And some of you have known this, and 4 years it's been in the makings of being made into a movie about our son's recovery from a brain tumor to play competitive sports. It's a real inspirational type story, and it's to be released in theaters in the fall. Because of the timing of everything, it's going into full production swing this weekend. So the shooting begins in Dallas, and it takes place on Sunday, and it'll be the whole month of April. But oddly enough, the movie producing team and the storyboard people met about a month and a half ago, and the script of our movie was written that at the end of the script, it goes on to say that this is a true story. And so part of the journey, it tells about our son and where he's at today, and you'll hear a little more of this tomorrow. But it also had a one sentence in there that said, Ruth and Jeff Elliott have been restored to financial freedom through an amazing opportunity with a company called Vemma. And so as the storyboard people began to, take that message, something prompted them to go to YouTube and search my name. And they saw my convention speech of last year. And so what they decided to do, when you've seen the movie Titanic, you notice the woman at the beginning of the movie, the older woman begins to share the story, and then it flashes back and shows the movie, and then it ends with her concluding the story. Well, we have the privilege that my actress, Lauren Holly, from NCIS, and what I know her as Mary Swanson in Dumb and Dumber, I have the privilege to share the stage with her tomorrow, because they are taken that one sentence at the end of the story in the script and evolved it into the Vemma convention at the beginning of the movie, with Lauren beginning to tell our story, and concluding the movie with Lauren talking to the Vemma audience that ends our story. So as you know, people in the movie world, they're idea people, and so all of this evolved and everything has happened. So the movie producing team just flew in this afternoon. Wardrobe design came in this afternoon. Lauren flew in this afternoon. And so all of this was scheduled for me to speak, to meet wardrobe design, to meet the producing team, to meet the director, who I just met last week for the first time, an incredible group of people that are all here to meet this afternoon. And so what I did was I brought a couple of my leaders who are very used to my slides and training, and asked them to be a part of the training in case I got called out. So that's and my kids are flying in today. 6 grandchildren under the age of 5 are being flown in today. So a lot of exciting things for us, and it's a privilege to have my Vemma family be a part of it. So thank you. I had to laugh when Brad Alcazan talked about what you think about grows. Because the craziest thing, my passion in this industry is I just have a passion and longing to help the brand new person get started. You know, I remember back in my early stages of network marketing back in 1988, I lacked every professional skill to make this business work. I only had one skill. I was a great promoter. I could invite people to meet the Borrego family. And so my passion is to help new people. It just never leaves. No matter how much money I make, my heart is always with the newest person getting started. And so yesterday, I went to bed and I started to think, the new people coming to convention, what I was like at my first convention. Will we provide for them what they're looking for in order to get started? And so then I began to think, well, you know, usually I meet with a lot of new people out in the hallways and I say, hey, what are you here to learn? What are you looking for to help you get started? And that didn't happen so much yesterday, unlike conventions in the past. So I was tired. I went to bed at 10 o'clock last night. Now I'm in a nice suite that Vemma provides for me. And it has a living room, a kitchen, a master bedroom. And it also had an adjoining door and a wonderful another bedroom. And it's not unusual for me to have a suite at convention that has 2 bedrooms. And so I retired early, went to bed at 10 o'clock, fell sound asleep. But I kept thinking about the newest brand partner and what they needed to know. And will we provide the information they need to get started? That's what I went to sleep thinking. I woke up at 10:45 to hear a rustling in my room. I opened my eyes, and to my surprise, I see my living room lights pop on. And so my first thought was, since my husband didn't fly in with me and he was arriving today, maybe he surprised me and came in early last night. So I pop up in my pajamas and walk out to the living room, a little bit nervous about who was in my room. And I meet face to face a wonderful new brand partner named Leah. And so we awkwardly look at each other, and I'm standing there like holding my arms up, making it feel more like I have a bra on. I don't know, it's just awkward. And so we looked at each other and I said, what are you doing here? And she said, well, I just checked in and I saw this door and opened it and I see this wonderful table with Vemma products, so I assumed it's a conference room. I said, well, actually it's my bedroom. And so we called security, who came up and worked it out and, you know, locked and secured the doors. But of course I say to her, what else do you say when you're standing there awkwardly? I said, so tell me, how long have you been in Vemma? She says, well, I'm a fairly new brand partner, and this is my very first convention experience. So of course I said to her, so what is it that you came to learn about? And we had this awkward exchange of me in my pajamas, but she shared with me everything that she came here. And I can tell you, Leah, if you're not in the room, I'll see you on tomorrow, I'm sure. But I'll tell you what, it was a great introduction to you last night. I'm glad it was a woman and not a man. But I'm confident that when you leave here this weekend, you will have all the information that you're looking for. And I myself will begin to have different thoughts prior to closing my eyes and going to sleep. So that's crazy. But anyway, with no further ado, what I'd like to do is, Brad, you did a phenomenal presentation, and it was just very, very well. And I'm excited because when you've been a veteran in the business for a while, you realize that those incredible details are real because it's exactly how we built our business. And you made reference to the whole Panera coffee shop, et cetera, but what I did, just in case I would be called away by wardrobe design or our director, is I asked Star Ambassador Gary Brady and Star Ambassador Dan Sarver and Star Ambassador Dennis Ligon to share a few things. Now Dennis has laryngitis and he's saving his voice for this evening because he's one of the main speakers this evening. But what I did was I asked Gary and Dan to be a part of this and to help share part of my message. I just asked them on Sunday, Easter Sunday, threw them an email and said, hey, you know my slides well, but would you be willing to share with the information with the audience just in case I get pulled away from this training. And so what I'd like to do is ask you to help me welcome my running mate, which was the very first person that I enrolled in the business who saw what I saw and partnered with me off of pure vision. I remember him asking me at the very beginning, so how much money are you making? I think my check was $10. And he looked at me and said, great, we're in, let's go. And so it was a gentleman who could build it off of nothing but vision. And so he's going to expand on Brad's message and share with you personal stories exactly how we got it started. So please help me welcome to the stage Star Ambassador Gary Brady.
Trinkets once were treasure, life changes like the weather.
Thank you. Well, Brad did a great job. He took every one of my slides. So Ruth said, just wing it. I was like, okay. But I was actually going to talk about inviter presenter, how important it is. You got to be good at one of two things. You got to be really good at getting people into Vemma yourself, or you better become really good at getting to somebody that is. And that is a far more important skill because it's duplicatable. People are not duplicatable, but systems are. Get them to somebody else, let them help you explain it. And so what I'm going to talk about is what we did. When I started network marketing 11 years ago, I lacked every single skill possible to be successful. I drove a truck for a living because I didn't like people. And then I hear, you know what, you're going to build a people business. Keith and Bev Rieger were awesome mentors that started me. They're presidentials in our team now, but they started us in another business. And what they taught me was, this business isn't about products. The products will sell themselves. The company will take care of what the company takes care of. Your job is to build people. I was like, well, that sucks because I don't like people. And that means I probably got to change myself. And I've learned over the years, it wasn't people that I didn't like like myself. And when you don't like yourself, you try to change the whole world to be the way you want it to be. And I've learned over the years, I can't change the whole world to be the way that I want it to be. But I can change me. And when I started, I remember I worked Sunday night through Thursday night. And I said, only days I have to build this business is Friday and Saturday. And Keith said, that's awesome because they're the best days. I said, they are really? He said, it's the only days you got, isn't it? I said, yep. He said, then they're the best days. And Brad hit on a key point. That is, do not expect the income that the people in these black chairs have by sharing with one person a week. Even one person a day. Really? You want to change your life, but you're not willing to pick up the phone more than one time a day and invite somebody to hear about the opportunity of a lifetime? Do you really expect them to buy in the fact that you're going to help them change their life if all you're willing to do is, when it's convenient, maybe share with somebody? They don't buy Vemma, guys. They buy you. They watch what you do. I learned that a long time ago. They will do half of what you do right. They will do 100% of what you do wrong. If you're putting in just the bare minimum effort, they're going to put in even less than you because they're not that excited about building your dream for you. You've got to show them that you're working your butt off to build your dream, to motivate them to build theirs. They get their belief from you. People say, well, once I see it, then I'm going to believe it. This is not a see it, then believe it business. This is a believe it, and then you will see it. And Anthony said it exactly right. It may be months and months and months that you're working and you just don't see it. You just don't see it. You just don't see it. I worked for 3 years. People saw how fast Marla and I grew when we started Vemma. We went from nothing to ambassador in like 14 months. Before Verve, before everything else. But I didn't go ambassador in 14 months. I went ambassador in almost 5 years because I failed for over 3 years first. learning the lessons that I had to learn, changing me. There is no such thing as an overnight success. If you're going to be successful at this, you're going to work hard. But I've learned this over the years. You're going to work hard anyway, right? Right? You're either going to work hard and build somebody else's dream, or you're going to work hard and build your own. If you're willing to get out of bed every single day to build somebody else's dream, why in the heck would you not pick up the phone and build your own? Don't hope for a full-time income on a very, 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 very part-time effort. It's never going to work. I remember the very first Vemma convention that we went to. It was called Diamond Club. You had to be diamond to qualify for it. And Marla and I, we were $70,000 in credit card debt, $25,000 in student loan debt, which I know now is nothing compared to what some people have. Ready to lose our house. Now, nobody knew that. People are always like, well, we didn't know that about you. I was like, well, would you really want to get in business with me if I told you, hey, I'm 70 grand in debt, getting ready to lose my house. Do you want to get in business with me? No, I don't think so. Obviously, you're an idiot. No one knew it until we were out of that. But Ruth told me, she said, you know what? Events change lives. So we loaded up the minivan with 2 kids and drove 2,000 miles in July through the heat of the Southwest to go and spend a few days to get a bigger vision of what we were a part of. And trust me, it didn't look anything like this. It was a couple hundred people. That was the first time I met Tom and Bethany Alcazan. First time I met Peter Francis was in San Diego, I believe. First time I met Brad was in San Diego. You hang around people that have what you want, you do what they do, the results are going to be the same. How fast is it going to be? I don't know. What option do you have? Are you going to be financially free doing what you're doing now? If you've been doing it for several years and you're not financially free yet, guess what? It's not going to happen. So we drove those 2,000 miles on a patched tire. You talk about luck. We go out and our van's got a flat tire. I'm like, are you kidding me? We can't afford a new tire. So we got the $8 kit from Walmart, stuck the little piece of rubber in there, cut it off, put some air in it, and said, let's go. Right there, we could have made an excuse. Well, I guess God doesn't want it to happen. Yeah, God must have given us a flat tire. He must have put that nail in the driveway. Maybe that's a sign. It was a sign, all right. Maybe God was just trying to figure out, how bad do you want it, kid? Do you really want it? Are you willing to pay the price? So we drove those miles. We packed lunch meat in the cooler, bread, chips in the back of the car. We told the kids, you know what, we're not going to do all that fancy eating out stuff. We're going to picnic. We couldn't afford souvenirs. They picked up rocks. I've still got them. Marla made little boxes for them, said souvenirs. They pick up rocks every place we stopped. I will never forget it, because that journey, people say, well, that's not when you went ambassador. That's not when you went star ambassador. That's not when you went financially free. And I'll say, the hell it wasn't. Because that's when we decided we're going to pay the price, whatever it takes. And I'm going to close with this. Because in our team, I am absolutely fanatical about personal development. Thanks to that wonderful couple right there. Keith and Bev Rieger, Ruth and Jeff Elliott, they've changed our lives so much. But your leaders can only do so much for you. You have to accept first that you are where you are because it's where you choose to be. Now, when I first heard that, I thought, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, because who would choose to be here? But then I realized I chose to be here. The decisions I made in my life have led me to this point. It's nobody else's fault. But the day that I accepted that, then I understood, if I can create this mess, then I can get out of this mess. If my thinking has caused me to have certain actions which has given me certain results up to this point, then I have to change the way I think. And once I understood that, then I was able to change my life, because I was able to change me. So I want to challenge you with that. Walk away from this weekend and remember, you are where you are because it's where you choose to be. But you made the right decision. You're here. You're around the winners, not the whiners. So you made the right choice. Now when you leave here on Sunday, life is going to punch you right dead in the face. I'll guarantee it. Jim Rohn says the same wind blows on us all. It's called life. Sometimes life sucks. We don't get to choose what happens to us all the time, but we always get to choose how we respond. And if all these people up here have made the choice to change themselves, to be where they are, you can do the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gary. You know, when we very first got started, we did start in the Panera coffee shop, and so many people had questions about that. The magic wasn't that you were having coffee, it was just that you were meeting someone face to face. You know, Brad talked about it earlier. If you want a full-time reward, you can have it with a part-time effort, but you have to identify what is a full-time reward to you. Is it $30,000 a year? 50? I can tell you this. If you want to be a millionaire, you do it by doing many meetings per day. When we started and met in Panera, we started at 9 in the morning and we stayed till 9 at night. And what people did was bring us contacts nonstop. They lasted 20 minutes. The magic isn't telling people everything you know about Vemma. There's a very sincere style of learning to sit down and be inquisitive and learn to know about the person in front of you. Share with them why you're excited about it. And in 20 minutes, we were meeting people. It was even chaotic sometimes. People would leave and say, how long are you going to be here? And they'd bring 5 more people back. It created a frenzy, but it developed leadership because eventually there were tables of people with their computers open, telling their story and showing people this amazing opportunity through Vemma. And I remember some of the Vemma leaders were like, you really sit in Panera all day? You're crazy. But it was the key to what we call momentum. And I can tell you what we did in our first 30 days drove our success to where it is today. It's what Brad said, it's create your story. How serious do you take this opportunity? Put your heart and soul into it and create momentum for a lifetime. But it's my privilege next to introduce to you Star Ambassador Dan Sarver. Dan and Kathy have been friends. They have been friends of Jeff and mine since 1988. We hadn't spoken to each other in years, and many people say, well, what do you do when you have someone on your contact list? And, you know, it feels awkward because you want to call him, but you haven't talked to him in years. And I'm always known for helping people know what to say. What's so interesting about many people's questions and prospecting is they're always asking me the very thing they should lead in their call to the person. In other words, if it's awkward to call someone but you think they'd be great, pick up the phone and say, hey, the reason for my call, and it's awkward. We haven't spoken in years. But I found something that could reunite our friendship, and I think you're going to be excited about it. Dan and Kathy Sarver have followed, and they're tremendous networkers. They're people who just care about people. And you see, the one thing when you're, questions that I get all the time, well, how do you work with young people? Young people can only work with young people. Well, they have to start somewhere. They have to have a mentor somewhere. And so what I'm looking for is I'm not necessarily looking for an age or a gender, I'm looking for a leader. And leaders create a line of enrollership and mentorship that what you're about to hear from Dan Sarver is that their business has grown in 90 days 68% because they mastered the ability to blend the generation gap. And you're going to see that every person on their team of their tremendous rank advancements, there is a brand partner in every generation from a teenager to a 20-year-old to a 30-year-old. And then we jump up to Dan's age bracket, but I won't say what that is. But they've mastered leadership in generational challenges. They do a tremendous job. I would like to share with you that the Sarver cycles this last 4 weeks went to 1,667 cycles, and it's been the tremendous mentorship of working the generation gap. So please help me welcome to the stage my dear friend, Star Ambassador Dan Sarver.
This is crazy because last year, anybody who was here, this room was 1/3 the size it is now, going from 2,500 to 6,200 people. Can you imagine next year, you all? I want to ask you, I have a moment to talk about systems, and I want to introduce a very special speaker, then close a little bit about teamwork. But let me ask you, do you have, at age 20, 40, 60, or 80, right now, deep down in your soul, passionately, do you have the maturity, the vision, the integrity to see where this is going? Well, you may have all those qualities and you may have that profound vision, but you have to surrender your ego and give up control and plug into existing systems. Do you have that kind of ability to surrender the ego? Yes or no? Okay. Can you give up control, or are you a control freak? Yes or no? Look deep down within you. The reason is we have a well-oiled, finely tuned, smooth operating, functional system, but are you willing to give up control and plug into what we're doing that's working? Team Vemma is not on trial, and I don't care what your age bracket is, I will tell you that I can't believe what's happened with Brad and Alex and everybody and our Brad, but they've plugged into a well-oiled system. 3 of the newest people we personally enrolled as a pediatrician, one is a finance manager of a luxury auto store, and the new guy is a plastic surgeon. And guess what? Did we beg them? Or did we ask them, do you have the maturity, the vision, the humility, the integrity to give up the ego, to give up control, and to plug into what we're doing? And they came on board because they said, yeah, we really do. So the point was, we're trying to be human resources director where we're finding people who it's mutually beneficial to be a part of what we're doing, but you didn't beg them. They just said, you know what, at this time in my life, it's the right place, the right time. What you say about wellness and fitness and having a financial option that makes sense, that makes sense to me, and I am willing to give up the ego. Are you fighting the battles and convincing and changing and cajoling and trying to change people? Are you finding a few people who go, that makes sense, let's do it? What are you doing? Plugging into the system, you're going to hear the finest example of a system shortly. I know 2 guys, Brad Alcaz, Alex Morton, you know what? They gave up humility. I mean, they kept their humility. And they took time to help our son with no financial interest. They just plugged our son into a system. Now, the 2 negatives we've seen after 7 years, people who come and go, they don't stay with us. 2 reasons. Number 1, They have compassion. They want to help people. They've got a big heart. But they assume that others care about about health, fitness, and wealth the same way they do. So they do feature, benefit, throw up, and overwhelm people with information instead of finding like-minded people. So the people that tend to come and go and get discouraged are people who assume everybody thinks like they do. You're not in that business. You're in the business of, through asking questions, sincerely listening, finding people who are like-minded as you are at this time in their lives. Can we get an amen on that? You've got to surrender your ego. I surrendered my ego 33 years ago. I met Kathy at a medical conference on the beach in Waikiki. She had the Orange County tan, the blonde hair, and a yellow bikini. And we met, and we dated several times, and we were in a grocery store parking lot, and I said, I feel like I have fallen in love with you. I'm in love with you. And she goes, oh, that's nice. I surrendered my ego. You're going to have a lot of opportunities to surrender your ego. But you know what? As we've watched people, the other people who come and go, guess what? We've been charting it for 7 years, and we've really been charting it for the last 15 months. We've looked at who is plugging into this functional system and who said, I don't give a rip how good your system is. I'm not going to give up control. I'm going to do my own thing. I am telling you it's black and white as we chart the data. They're gone. Those who go, I will surrender and do what you all are doing and do what other people have done that's highly successful, that's unique to this operation, that may not apply to what they've been doing, those people are staying in the game. So, as a lot of us, whether we're 20, 40, 60, or 80, we've had opportunities to watch systems that are well-oiled and functional. And one of them we've watched is this incredible revolution with Verve in this younger age demographic. So my wife and I have seen Kathy and I have seen a dramatic increase in our business because if you truly believe that you are one, like Brad said, do you really understand, coupled with your maturity, your vision, and your integrity, do you really understand that you're a couple people away from explosive growth? Do you understand that most people who build a six-figure income in Vemma have 5 to 8 serious like-minded people, and they built their fortune with helping a few deadly serious people? And we've watched a system that exploded our business, and we've watched one of our heroes as our own wonderful son and star executive, Brad Sarver.
Wow. I promise we didn't know we were going to wear a similar colored suit today. But hey, very, very excited, very humbled to be up here speaking in front of all you guys. Really, Ruth asked me to speak just about, 2 or 3 days ago. So hopefully, what we have to say is going to really help you guys out a little bit. I have a really unique story. Obviously, my parents are in the business. They've been in this about 7 years. I've been to, I'm pretty sure, every convention. I think this is my 7th convention. And, the reason I say that is to let you guys know that up until now, this wasn't for me. Okay, so if you're a parent trying to get your kid in the business, or if you're a kid trying to get your parents in the business, even your own family, clearly they might not get it. It might not be the right time for them. So just stick it out and just be authentically neutral. And that's one of the things that we teach. So I've got a couple slides. Ruth really asked us to touch on a couple of things. And one of the things that Ruth has always taught is these 4 key phrases. And it's interesting because, my dad touched on this. You kind of hear everybody really touch on this. We have a system in place. And what I've seen over the last 14 months is that the people that really are successful at this, they simply follow the system. And the people that aren't successful, that get in, they get really excited, and then they're gone 6 weeks later. It's generally 100% of the time because they did not follow the system. They didn't invite their friends the correct way. They verbally vomited Verve on people. We've all seen it. They went out and sent out a massive 5-paragraph long text message to 100 people. Doesn't work. Okay, I tried it. Okay, and really quickly, about 14 months ago, I was living in Scottsdale, Arizona. I only knew like 2 people there. And, I met Alex Morton for the first time. And I have to say thank you to Alex and Josh both because they let me, they treated me like I was on their team. I went to their home events. They were totally cool. And honestly, I probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. And that's the spirit of Vemma, okay? In Kansas City, where we live, we have people from all groups that come to our meetings. And I have to tell you guys, if you're new in this business or you've been in a short time, you have to realize we are all on BK's team. That is so important. There is, how many people in the world? 6 billion people? Guys, there is enough people out there. You don't need to hoard people. There's no need to go out and try to take people from other people. So they treated me just like I was on their team, and I would encourage you to do the same for other people, okay? It's gonna come back to you. So with that, I really learned 14 months ago what not to do. I learned it the hard way. I went out and tried to, send massive text messages. So on our team, guys, after 14 months now, we've really learned a system that works. Okay, so don't go out there and verbally vomit Verve. Don't go out there and, change your Facebook profile on Facebook to a can of Verve. That's not you. Don't do it, okay? Instead, if you will just approach this in an authentically neutral way with your friends, you have to genuinely be neutral, okay? Because if you're not, they're gonna see it on your face. I tell my team to act like you're Donald Trump, okay? Without the weird hair, okay? You've gotta, Donald Trump, if he invites people to come and meet with him, if they don't show up to a meeting with him, do you think he cries about it? Do you think he's desperate to go out and have meetings with people? Probably not. Okay, you have to be confident and you have to be authentically neutral. And you have to have a very, not cocky, but you just have to have confidence, okay? People will pick up on that. So instead of texting your friends random giant text messages, instead of going out on Facebook spamming people, instead, we on our team have utilized the Ruth Elliott. She used to have these 4 key phrases. We've kind of added a 5th one in there, and we kind of do it our own way. We kind of start, we encourage you not to be a robot, okay? And this has really helped our team, so hopefully it helps you guys. But here's the 5 points, you guys. Number 1, be excited, obviously, okay? But when I talk about the 5 points, these are actually 5 key phrases that you can use. And the system in my mind, you guys, is, okay, how do you take somebody from a name on a contact list, which obviously everybody in this room, who has a written contact list? Every hand should be up. Okay, I have 500 lists, just everywhere. My car, bathroom, all over the place, random spaces. You guys, all of us should have a written contact list. I've heard Tom Alcazan say that's your biggest asset in this business, okay? So how do you take someone from a name on a contact list to merely sparking an interest, to getting them connected to an upline or an event, to getting them enrolled, okay? That's really the system in my book, okay? That's how I look at it. So when you're calling your friend, what I want to teach you guys is, and I'm going to get all these up on here at the same time so you can read them. This is what we teach, and it's working very, very well. So let's say that Dan Sarver was on my contact list. Let's say that Dan Sarver is a very successful guy in the sports nutrition world, okay? A lot of people come on board in this business and they automatically think of their chiropractor, their trainer, their doctor, whatever. So let's say he's a very successful sports nutrition guy. He's not a 20-something kid, okay? You can still use these, okay? This works for all age brackets, all right? So this is what I'm gonna do, and you guys can see, is that 5? That's 5. You guys can see what it says. Here's what I would say to Dan Sarver. I'd pick up the phone, number 1, and I'd call and say, hey, Dan, this is Brad Sarver. Hey, Dan, first off, I just have to say I have really admired your success. You're a guy that I really look up to. I've known you for a while, and I know this call is kind of out of the blue, but I just wanted to say I really admire you, and I hope to someday have the success that you have. Dan, I'm excited about something, and honestly, I don't even know if this would be for you. It may not even interest you whatsoever. But I'm calling you because I've discovered some really exciting stuff. It's a healthy alternative to Red Bull, incredibly just legit. I don't know all that much about it yet, but I value your opinion. And I thought of you because I know that you just are really into this kind of healthy stuff. Would you be at all, or better yet, I like to not use the word interested. Here's 2 of my favorite words, relevant and resonate. Those are 2 outstanding words, better than interest. So what I would say is, does that sound at all relevant to you? Or would it be relevant to you to know a little bit more about this? That's really it. Does that make sense? That's it, okay? All I said was, hey, I'm excited about something, might not even be for you. The reason I thought of you is because you're into nutrition and all that stuff. It might not even be for you. And does that sound relevant to you? Or would you be willing to hear more about it? Yes or no? That's it, okay? I didn't say Verve, didn't say Vemma, no Dr. Oz, no Phoenix Suns, no Mangosteen, no, left side, right side, we sign up people, they sign up people, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I didn't say any of that. So if you're getting when you talk to your friends about this, if you're getting the thing where people are like, oh, that's a pyramid, you're probably saying way too much. Does anybody relate to that? Okay. So don't say that, okay? Be authentically neutral. Follow these 5 points because, guys, number one, people like to be thought of. Okay, when you tell someone, hey, I automatically thought of you and here's why, they appreciate that. They like that. Okay, I didn't try to push this on them. I let them know, hey, honestly, this might not even be for you. Okay? Give them an out. All right? Now let's assume that I'm calling Brad Alcazan. All right? He's a 20-something kid. This is how I do it. This is what we teach. Brad, what's up, man? Hey, it's Brad. What's going on? Dude, I'm calling you for a reason, man. I'm pretty excited about something, and honestly, man, I know you're a successful dude already. This might not even interest you whatsoever, but man, I'm pretty excited, dude. I've been working with some buddies of mine. They're working with this healthy alternative to Red Bull. Man, some of my friends, they're making like $2,000 or $3,000 a month, man. Honestly, I know it might not even be for you or not, but dude, does that sound at all relevant to you? Boom, that's it. Okay? He's either going to say yes or no. Now, here's what to take it a step farther. If someone says yes, okay, here's what you don't want to do. They'll probably say, yeah, tell me a little bit more. Tell me what is it? How does it work? Blah, 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 whatever. They want to ask you about it. You can go one of two ways. You can try to explain or present it, or you can take a step back and pass it off to your upline. What do you think is the better option? There you go, okay? That is when you take yourself out of it and you just, honestly, here's what we teach people to do. You gotta be like, when they say, hey, what is it? That sounds interesting, how does it work? You gotta be like, hey, I gotta run actually, I'm late. I got a chicken in the oven or something. Or hey, I'm late to class. Or hey, my buddy Eric did this the other day in the car. He goes, hey man, I'm actually driving through a low service area. I think I'm gonna lose you. Hello? Seriously, it worked. It worked perfectly. You wanna get yourself off the phone, okay? Because what happens is you just have this, I don't know, it's human nature. You have this desire to just wanna tell everybody everything. And everybody talks about this. You have to be an inviter, not a presenter. And when you start to cross over that line to be a presenter, that's when things go south. Okay? So from now on, can everyone agree, if you're brand new, like diamond or below, or gold or below, honestly guys, I still do this. I don't talk to people about everything. If I have somebody that's interested, I can explain everything about the business, but I don't. I pass it off to one of my other buddies, Jordan Waldo or Greg Miller or anybody else, or my dad. You still want to pass it off, okay? Be an inviter, not a presenter. People just want to hear it from somebody else. Does that make sense? I think that's really it, guys, but I would just say this. You've seen, those of you that were here last year, you've seen the difference between last year and this year. Next year, it's going to be probably 4 times the size of this. Okay, so we can all agree that this Verve, this Vemma thing, is going to be so freaking huge. Yeah. Guys, I watched this happen for 6 years. They told me about this 7 years ago, and I sat back and watched while Brad and Luke Wilborn and some other guys, really took off with this. It took me 6 years to give up my ego and really realize that, I tell you what, if I didn't do this, I was going to be left behind. And I'm just telling you guys that right now. If you don't do this, you will get left behind, period. So make the commitment, be here in a year no matter what. Do something every single day. That's all I've done. The only thing that has gotten me where I'm at is by doing something every single day. So thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
Whose outfit do you like better? In conclusion, this is a family affair. We talk about teamwork. Kathy's and my philosophy, 2 weeks ago, we had 88 people in our front room. 43 were brand new looking at this business, and four groups were from teams from other folks because we don't give a rip. This is Team Vemma. So this is more about teamwork. This is about family, growing old together, building relationships. I would submit it's a pretty noble endeavor when you can help save someone's health and you can help save them financially. Is that endeavor worthy? Yes. So this is about teamwork, but you know what? The Alcazans we've known 28 years. The Elliots we've known 25 years. BK Barrico we've known 23 years. And guess why Kathy and I came on board? We saw integrity, credibility, maturity, and vision. So if you have maturity and vision, if you have credibility and integrity, if you're willing to give up the ego and plug into a beautiful system that's functional, then the final thing is to become part of a team where you really grow the future together. So our message is, you're part of a revolution. Stay in the game, please. Thank you. God bless all of you.
Thank you, Brad, and thank you, Dan. I appreciate it so much. Did you all enjoy that? Wonderful. Great. Can you imagine when everyone's here and checked in what this room's going to look like tomorrow in general session with 6,000 people in here? This is just warm-up. It's going to be great. Well, our next speaker, I was going to have Dennis Ligon share some great things, some teaching principles about duplication. And he's been hit with some laryngitis. And so I am going to cover his part, and it worked out perfect because while Dan and Brad were speaking, I was able to meet the director of our movie, the producing team, and I just had the privilege to give Lauren Holly a big hug for the first time. And so it was great to see her. Okay, if you want to pull up a couple of slides that Dennis had. Oh, here we go. Get this. Okay, I guess it'll be fun kind of sharing Dennis Ligon's story. Dennis comes from traditional business, and he is a very successful businessman, someone who is really trained well in sales. And so this whole idea of duplication and helping people get started became something that was very foreign to him. But I'll tell you what Dennis was and is extremely coachable. And I've had the privilege to partner and work with him directly, literally about since the day he enrolled. And he's a man starved for knowledge, always takes notes. And it's just been a privilege, and it's an honor here really to talk about you today. So thank you for giving me the moment to brag on you a little bit. But you know, Dennis learned that there's a difference between recruiting someone and getting someone started. And this is a key principle. You see, Dennis just doubled his business and broke Star Ambassador, and it was largely due to understanding the difference between recruiting someone into the business and helping them get started. You see, 2 years ago, there was a gentleman that attended this convention and brand new in the business, tried to reach up to someone in his upline that was not Dennis, and the person was just busy at convention and did not have the time to connect with him. Later, this gentleman, Jeff Blackman, connected with Dennis Ligon. Jeff Blackman came to convention last year and brought one brand partner with him. He left convention with a new vision, partnering with Dennis, and with an incredible team effort of people from Green Bay, Cheese, Wisconsin. And Jeff Blackman has gone, and his business just landed at 367 cycles since last convention. And so what Dennis was so great at being coachable, but he was also great in helping someone get started. You see, the first person that got him started literally just recruited him and sent them on his way. He did a lot of things wrong, but he stayed in the game. And then when he met Dennis, Dennis's greatest skill is that he's coachable. And so he sat down, encouraged him, and said, let's start over and do it the right way. And so my message to you is to be coachable, but to realize that you also need to play the role of a mentor and help coach other people. You know, I laugh at one of the early days when Gary Brady was coaching someone how to get started, and I have to bring it up because Brad Sarver touched on it today. When you're talking about it, be excited. Like, can you tell I'm excited? I am excited. I can share my husband's prostate story on Vemma as excited today, 8 years later, as I did the day I first told it. I'm excited. And I remember Gary sitting with an individual and he said, hey, are you excited about Vemma? And the gentleman said, yes. And Gary said, hey, tell your face. You have to not just be excited, but look excited. Another coaching tip that's always gone down as one of the funniest memories in Vemma is when Verve very first came out, there was a brochure that was made that looked like a can of Verve. And do some of you remember that? And on the inside, it had a lot of skater dudes and different things. And so some of the older people didn't relate to the brochure. And I remember being in a training and a woman raises her hand and she said, Gary, I understand that you have, some connections into home office. We really like the Verve can brochure, but we don't like what they wrote in the middle. We don't like the inside of it. So Gary looks at him and he says, so glue it shut. They're not buying the brochure, they're buying what's inside of you. And so these coaching things apply in helping a new person get started. Talking about building in depth, when I share that story with you of Jeff and Michelle Blackman hitting 300 and some cycles, it's because there are so many pin breaks in their organization. And it's what Brad was saying earlier. Have your 7-day goals, not only for yourself, but with your mentor. And you shoot and you work together in that 4-week cycle to create people breaking golds, breaking pin ranks, and be a part of that. Celebrate small victories. That's the one thing I've seen our business evolve into through social media that was not present when I very first got started. The thing that I love about it is it gives you a platform to recognize and celebrate small victories for your team. But what I like best is that people are so on fire for this opportunity. I love when they post their own success and they tell the world that they just hit a rank in Vemma. That's how excited you should be. So building in depth is very, very important, and that comes through the power of duplication. So you can enroll a lot of people, but if you don't spend the time to help them get started, you have a lot of people that can't get started. So duplication, build in depth, play a role, be a mentor, and get connected and stay connected. It's a very valuable part, and any industry leader will tell you this. It's something that you'll hear from every leader that spoke here today, is when you begin to get discouraged, will you get discouraged? Yeah. And so your natural instinct is to withdraw a little bit. Well, I'm going to encourage you to come out of your comfort zone, and that's the time that you plug in stronger than ever. And so what I'd like to leave you with is, in talking a little bit about personal development, you see, in order to make this opportunity work, you have to have belief in 3 things. You have to have belief in the product. The one thing I love about the Verve is it just makes sense. It doesn't take, a lot of coaching on getting people to understand that it's just good for you and it tastes great. So you have to have belief in the product. You also have to have belief in our company. And is BK Barreco the finest industry owner that you can find anywhere? It's not hard to believe in our company because he's so amazing. But you also have to believe in our industry. Now, you might believe in the industry because you're looking at leaders here today who have reached the level of a millionaire status. But if I were to look at you and say, do you believe that you could be here and be me? Something inside of you should say, yes, I do. Because when I went to my very first convention, the highest pin rank in the company was presidential. It's where Tom Alcazan was. And I was a member/participant. I had no one on my team. But I went to the convention and I realized at that moment I could do it. But I knew to become the leader of an organization that I had dreamed in my mind that I wanted, I had written down on a piece of paper, Charlie the Tremendous Jones said, you will be the same person you are today outside of the books you read and the people you spend your time with. And I took that serious. I've read hundreds of books. I developed myself into a leader that was ready and prepared to lead an organization of hundreds of thousands of people. And so my message to you is when you're going through the times of your business, you're going to have good times, you might have some setbacks. But I meet people very often who say, well, I'll get engaged and I'll get excited when I have the person who joins my team that gives me the reason to be excited and to become a better leader. And I'm telling you, the opposite is true. If you want to develop your organization, you yourself have to develop into a new person. If you want to attract a leader more talented than yourself, you have to become a leader more talented than you are today. And so through these books and different things that I read, it prepared me. I drew messages out of all these books. I highlighted them. I keep them. I write notes. And I made a commitment to myself on February 25th, 2005, that 5 years from then, I would be a different person. And I accomplished that goal. So my biggest message to you today is don't wait for the person to walk into your life to become the leader to lead them. Be the leader first. The other message I want to leave you with, some of you are here today. These are the things that I've heard throughout 8 years. Well, I just got started. I wish I had a power leg. Well, I just got started. My power leg's so big, I could be cycling far more if my profit leg were bigger. Like everything is a negative. And I remember one gentleman who was extremely negative in my business kept telling me this, I just wish I had a power leg. I said, be careful what you ask for. You might have one. One side will leave. You have to be grateful for all things at all times and to work on yourself and to create the type of business that you want that has personal sponsorships and two sides of your business, and be excited about what's to develop. What I'm inspired about is as I'm coaching people in my own business, it doesn't matter if they're brand new. I can tell you one of the greatest leaders that I'm developing right now just hit 81 cycles, and I used to hear her say at the beginning, wow, one side of my business is so much bigger than the other. I need to catch up with it. And she remained positive and coachable. She never missed a call. She had a second home in Canada. She drove every Saturday to the U.S. border to join my conference call. She never left the game. And that right moment arrived, and now her problem is that her sides have flip-flopped and the other side is growing far faster. And so what I find is when I'm talking to Dan Sarver, when I'm talking to Brad Sarver, any person in the business, what am I saying to them? I lead by example in watching the movements that you're seeing here today. How many times when you hear Anthony Powell, Matt Morrow reached out to Anthony Powell. Matt Morrow was one good person away from creating a second Royal Ambassador business. As I'm talking to Dan Sarver, we're a little bit stuck. And then his son Brad engages and develops and grows this incredible business that doubled their business. What was he looking for? One good person. What was Dennis Ligon looking for? One good person. Doubled his business. Now he has several good people. So what I find myself coaching people of all pin ranks, it doesn't matter where they're at in their business. I'm speaking to you today. I'm inspired when you see Brad Alkazin's success. When he found Alex Morton in a group of people, what was he? One good person away. Did he find it? I want to plant upon your heart, place it in your mind, carry it with you. What you think about grows. You're looking to bring one great person into your business. Never quit, never give up. Develop yourself into the leader that will attract that one good person. I'm sitting at the doorstep of Star, Royal, and Pinnacle that'll hit probably in the same month. I have 4 people who are sitting with a difficult way to calculate when they're going to hit presidential because their sides are equal. So what am I telling these 4 good people? You're just one person away. I have so many examples to share with you of these incredible success stories because they became the leader they needed to be to find the one good person to take them to the next level. You're going to see so many stories this weekend that all started because someone had faith and belief that they were one good person away, and they became the person they needed to be to attract that person into their business. So I'm going to leave you in closing with this message. Leave here today. Make a commitment. Never quit. Join every call. Get connected. Stay connected. Fight off the challenge to withdraw when you feel that things are bad. That's the time that you're being stretched to grow larger, to grow bigger, to grow stronger in your business. Take action on it. And leave here this weekend with a decision to change your life. And it starts by dreaming big. Thank you for joining our session. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.